I actually have told people every single person on the planet needs a Karatbars account. There is not one logical reason to not have this account.
Well, everything in my life is down to Harald Seiz. I can't say any more than that.
He's got the biggest heart of any human being I've ever met.
Harald Seiz is one of the most generous, caring, loving, giving, spiritual men that I have ever met in my life, and I will follow him to the end of the world. I'm with him till the end. I think Harald's heart is bigger than this world, and I love how he just keeps giving and giving and giving and giving, and he always, always, always looks at how he can make a difference in the world. And his company's not the best company in the world, but we're going to be the best company for the world, and we're going to go out and change the world and make a difference. We're going to go from success all the way to significance, and that's because of his great leadership.
I'm looking for freedom from the system, freedom. And it's very important, the word freedom. Everybody has the right to be free,
We can accomplish anything. We're capable of defining success for ourselves.
Harald Seiz is an extraordinary human being. He is first of all, just an incredible person.
And he's not only a tremendous, good, loyal and straightforward person, but also the best CEO I know on this planet.
My name is Harald Seiz. I'm the CEO and owner of Karatbars International. And this is obviously a banknote that now encompasses what money should encompass. And it's an alternative to the payment system that we have at the moment. Because a lot of people have lost faith in the dollar, lost faith in the euro, and the alternative is gold. If anything should happen in the financial sector to the dollar, the euro, or paper money is worthless in the next few years, and I'm convinced it will be in the next 4 or 5 years, then those people we have in the system who buy gold will be protected. And that was the first goal I wanted to achieve with my company.
Die wir im System haben, die Gold kaufen, abgesichert. Und das war das erste Ziel, das ich erreichen wollte mit meinem Unternehmen.
I started with small denominations, 1 gram, 2.5 and 5 grams, because that makes it affordable to everyone. In my opinion, you have to speak to the masses. So I spoke to the masses. Worldwide, we have customers and business partners in 120 countries. In the meantime, it's become a few more. To date, there are 600,000 people who are either customers or business partners. Success is also being able to concentrate, to focus on one thing. And you have to find this one thing, the thing you're passionate about. It's not easy to find something in life that's both fun and you're passionate about. But success is also giving something to somebody else and offering someone an advantage. And this principle is called give and take.
Und dieses Prinzip heißt geben und nehmen.
The definition of success, incidentally, is really fascinating because it used to be that a lot of people equated success with extreme wealth. There are a few that still have that dream today, but only a few. The definition of success is what you yourself want it to be. It has nothing to do with wealth. Neither does it have anything to do with recognition from the outside. It depends on your own goal. And it's important that you're clear about it, how you define success for yourself. That's a good question. I think that's a question you have to think about in reverse. Success can obviously be material success, but you can also measure success in terms of immaterial values, in personal satisfaction. Ultimately, I think that individual success is defined when you look in the mirror every morning and you're happy with everything you've done, with what you've achieved. Even if you're satisfied with what you've achieved, you can still achieve a little bit more.
Was man erreicht hat, sondern immer noch ein bisschen weiter möchte. Ich bin eben einfach so wie ich bin. Ich bin natürlich.
I simply am how I am. I'm a natural person. I help people. If, for example, there are people who have disappointed me, and later they hit a low point, and I've still helped them. It's a question of give and take. I like to give, and I also get something back. Most people don't understand this principle, that first you have to do something, to take action, to give something before you get something back. Because if I don't use my skills, I can't succeed. And that actually applies to everything. I'm someone who believes in fairness, and if something is unfair, then there aren't many situations where I become emotional, but in this case I can get emotional. And I believe in justice, which is also reflected in my business.
Und das spiegelt sich auch in meinem Geschäft wider.
Success has its own very interesting rules, and it has nothing to do with firewalking, but how you begin to question success. And one day I came across a really interesting story. That success, what does it depend on? On the right education? On the right means? Go to Silicon Valley and you'll find it's a building block, but that's not the real success. I have another theory. You can reduce success to a single second. 1 second decides whether you suddenly see an opportunity in the eyes of a customer that he himself doesn't see. 1 second decides whether you want to be successful and change your career. I'm convinced you will always come to a fork in the road in your life. It's pretty much always been the way that people have said, him, yeah, he can't do anything anyway. And that always gives me motivation.
Ich bin Jutta, heißt Jutta Hermann.
My name is Jutta, and I've been working here since January 2014. He also knows the other side of life, how someone can hit rock bottom, how quickly someone can fall. He's never forgotten that. And despite everything, he's not just this arrogant boss, but he's remained human, human towards his employees as well. Childhood wasn't so easy. We imagine a boy with thick spectacles who was an outsider at school, at home a single mother, a grandmother at home with alcohol problems. You say yourself a child with a migrant background, a father from Greece who at some point disappeared.
Ihr Vater aus Griechenland, der dann irgendwann weg war.
If you have nothing, no point of reference, someone, for example, a father, an entrepreneur and so on, to show you how things work, then you have to make mistakes in order to learn from them. There were people at school who explained everything to us, what you can do. Then I went to college and I realized I can't let myself get trapped somewhere and smothered. And that's how it was. That's why I left this apprenticeship very quickly. And the problem was that my mother and grandmother in the meantime, my stepfather as well, told me that I should learn an honest trade, do something respectable, that a trade can give you a decent living. I was talked into it again, and I started an apprenticeship with my father, who was a painter, and I have to say, that wasn't a good fit for me. It just wasn't my thing. So I quit that apprenticeship, and that's when I got into direct sales.
Bei meinem Vater, der war Malermeister, habe dort eine Lehre begonnen und muss dazu sagen, dass mir das gar nicht gepasst hat und dass es nicht mein Ding war. Deswegen habe ich auch diese Lehre verlassen und habe dann zuerst mal den Direktverkauf kennengelernt.
Selling vacuum cleaners for Vorwerk. That was the first thing I ever did in direct sales. And I thought it was phenomenal for people to be buying vacuum cleaners from me on their doorsteps. I wasn't unsuccessful at it either, because at the time I was earning something like 3,000 or 4,000 Deutschmarks a month, and that was a lot of money back then.
3.000 und 4.000 D-Mark manchmal im Monat verdient, und das war sehr viel Geld damals.
Hat recht klein angefangen.
He started very small and also fell flat on his face a few times with ventures that didn't work out. And he got into debt and really hit rock bottom. I trained as a financial advisor, and of course I worked really hard at it. And I had around 12 to 14 appointments a week, and as a result, I was successful at this as well. We gave people advice about their pensions. Then I started my first company where we sold fund policies, which was still a bit more interesting than life insurance. And it was somewhat more modern. because you can earn greater yields for customers.
Und die war etwas moderner, weil man da noch mehr Rendite erwirtschaften konnte für die Kunden. Hab dort 50 Leute.
I built the company up to 50 people. We were making 10 million a month, and it was all going well. Until the crash, and I lost everything. And I was left with a mountain of debt amounting to 250,000 euros. And afterwards, because the insurance took everything, I had about 200 or 300 euros left, with which to start all over again.
Nur noch 200-300 Euro zur Verfügung, mit dem ich dann neu anfangen konnte.
How do you motivate yourself to get up and start over? A lot of people have asked me that, by the way, over the course of 36 years. How do you manage to stay so successful? My first answer has always been, who told you that I'm always successful? I'm convinced that success is a series of ups and downs. Sometimes you're up, other times you're down. It's important when you're down to stay focused on the light at the end of the tunnel. And one of my great mottos is, when one door closes, another one opens. In retrospect, there are many things that I hated at the time, but then later I understood. It was just being shown a new path toward other things. And obviously, after a situation like that, you're feeling completely battered. So then I sat at home for at least a week, and I got thinking, what should I do? So I got some office space from a friend, a room in his own office. It was in Königstraße in Stuttgart. That's the street where all the shops are. And I started a company for 100 euros in England, something I'd already done before, and I did the rounds for 4 to 5 hours solid, and I earned between 600 and 800 euros. During that time, I did that for 3 years, I managed to pay off my entire 250,000 euro debt. Of course with settlements, and I was free and clear.
Kompletten Schulden von 250.000 Euro, natürlich mit Vergleichen, zurückbezahlt und war wieder frei.
What goes on in our heads? What can we accomplish with success? The path doesn't always go straight to the top. The path turns left, turns right, doubles back. And sometimes you can really take a pummeling. And it's at these times that you need to be able to stand up and say, okay, today just wasn't my day. I've said it often enough. But tomorrow will be the day I continue along my path. That's really the attitude you need to get to your goal. Incidentally, this is how all inventors have thought. They've doggedly stuck to their guns, despite however many monkey wrenches are being thrown into the works. I think that's a very central, really important lesson. To accept that you won't always go straight to the top with success. The important thing is how you deal with it. You've been involved with the precious commodity with gold since 2011 and have invested in it. What prompted you in 2008, 9, 10, and 11, or however long ago it was, to create your company? What was the inspiration behind the idea? I can tell you, when I was 19 years old, I was working in the financial sector. And back then, when I sell something, there has to be a passion, and I have to believe in it. And when I saw how it was 2004, I think, when insurance companies had to disclose their costs, and I realized, how can you invest in something when essentially you lose half? And I thought about it. What's the alternative? And I decided gold was it. Because at the time, there was the currency, and I formulated this plan.
Dann habe ich mir Gedanken darüber gemacht, was kann man als Alternative tun, und so bin ich dann auf das Gold gekommen, und weil das ja die Währung war damals, und habe dann diesen Plan entwickelt. So, und dann habe ich mir gedacht.
Then I gave it some thought. What kind of product on the capital market could be good for people? And I thought about gold. Why? Gold is money.
Und dann bin ich auf das Gold gekommen. Wie? Gold ist Geld. Wenn man sich anschaut, wie der
When you look at how the dollar came about in the 1860s, when the gold miners went to the banks and said, I want to deposit my gold with you because it's too dangerous, because back then they got shot and their gold was stolen. So that's how it was back then. And that's why the gold miners went to the banks and deposited their gold, and in return they were given a certificate. To cut a very long story short, it was this certificate that eventually became the dollar.
Zertifikat. Und in Kurzform, dieses Zertifikat war irgendwann einmal der Dollar.
Ich bin die Schwester von Harald Seiz.
I'm Harald Seiz's sister, and I work in gold production here at Karatbars. What exactly do you do here in gold production? My husband and I produce the cash gold. We have bills that we embed with 0.1 grams of gold. I've been incredibly impressed by what he's achieved.
Mittlerweile bin ich begeistert.
He started this business in 2011, and the more he told me about it, the more enthusiastic he got, the more enthusiastic I became. To be honest, I didn't believe it at first.
Je mehr mir erzählt hat und je begeisterter war, konnte mich dann auch mit begeistern, ja. Und also das war für mich schon ein... Ich habe es ehrlich gesagt erstmal nicht geglaubt.
Ja, jeder muss seinen Weg gehen.
Yes, everyone has to follow their own path. It's not an example to say, okay, you can go precisely this way. But I'm trying to say that you always, whenever you have your sights set on something, and if you enjoy it, and if you say, okay, this is what I want to achieve, that you can do it if you just stay focused and don't get distracted by quote-unquote friends who don't mean it in a bad way, who say, oh, that's impossible or won't work. If you're motivated and want to achieve something, then of course it's possible. If we accept that success starts in the mind, then the first thing we have to do is tell ourselves that there's always a way and that we have the strength to make it happen. This is a very high form of self-motivation. And then to be able to say that I'm capable at any time of finding the way, that represents enormous self-belief. And that is one of the most important prerequisites. That there is always a chance, always a way, and always what I call a resource to see this. That is very closely connected to our own attitude in terms of how we deal with ourselves. We can accomplish anything. We're capable of actually defining success for ourselves. I'm the perfect example. What happened to me should never have happened. But from the start, I decided I would say, in my mind, there will always be a solution, and the solution will come. It might not come right now, not straight away, but it comes. And you never stop, do you? You have to keep going somehow. That's why cryptocurrency is such a big topic for you. Yes. In 2017, my business stagnated a bit, so you have to ask, why? What's the reason? And everyone, or at least a lot of people, are moving into cryptocurrencies because greed devours the brain, because they thought they could get rich quick. And I looked into it, and I realized how great it would be to combine the crypto market with a blockchain, to produce a gold coin. And I acted immediately. And within 3 months, between November 2017 and February 2018, I had brought out a coin.
Von November 2017 auf Februar 2018 habe ich einen Coin aufgelegt.
Of these companies who all launched an ICO in 2018 following the Bitcoin boom, 1,000 have already disappeared, and they were still afloat in 2018. 200 committed fraud, so it's obvious just how tough this sector really is.
Absolut, ja. Also da muss man schon sehr, sehr aufpassen.
Absolutely, yes. You really have to be very, very careful. And I think you have to go back to fundamental companies like ours because I've been on the market since 2011. We have continued to evolve. And I decided to produce a coin because it's my plan to develop a financial system based on gold.
Ein Finanzsystem aufzubauen, goldbasierend.
I think what Mr. Seiz is doing is really exciting. And it's not just a pipe dream because he's already gone and done it. He has already created a cryptocurrency or a gold-based coin. And I've known Mr. Seiz for several years. He's very interesting. He's not your typical startup entrepreneur. He's an experienced businessman who managed a very, very classic business, very successfully, before learning about and making use of this new technology to transform and expand his business. And he did it in an innovative way. What he has created as a private entrepreneur with the gold-based currency, you can now see at intergovernmental level to the extent that governments issue virtual currencies, cryptocurrencies that are gold-based. So he really is a pioneer in this area.
Die goldbasiert sind, also ist hier wirklich ein Pionier.
Gold is freedom. Gold is freedom. If you have gold, you have money. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot of news today for you. The people, they know me from 2011. Everything what I promised you, I did it. I did it.
Banks, exchanges, and gold mining companies will unite with one goal: to create the gold independence world, which will bring stability and prosperity for everyone.
What I will present you is the real facts, the real future for you, for us all together, for us families, and for all generation, for next future, for next 100 years and more.
Whatever you have in your pockets, forget it, because we have a better one. We have our own operating system.
We invented the first voice over blockchain smartphone.
I did it.
It's incredible. I mean, it's magic. Just a lot of love, and that's what makes this so special.
Mit all seinen
With all his businesses, or what would you say, businesses he started, he has gone from strength to strength. He's grown stronger and stronger and has never given up on himself. He has always believed that one day a business would come along where he would eventually be successful. I admire him for that to this day. I could never have mustered so much strength.
Also ich wäre so stark sicher nicht.
The title of one of my most important lectures is Nobody Can Win Alone. No one is capable of being permanently successful on their own. And especially during a crisis, it's important to have people around you who believe in you. The exciting thing is, Bill Gates was not alone. Steve Jobs was not alone. The people around you are the key. They're the ones who help you follow your path, who believe in you, who motivate you, who say, even if things go wrong, even when you find yourself staring at the wreckage, I believe in you, and you will go on to be even more successful than you've ever been. What is success? I'm convinced that success is when you can one day take stock of your life and you can say that not only have you achieved something, you've also helped other people to improve their lives a little bit as well. I think that would be my definition of success. The organization deals with socio-critical films, films that can't really be shown because they can't be financed. And for sure, we have to expose what's happening in the world today. And that's why it's something that is really very important for all of us.
Eine Sache, die wirklich sehr, sehr wichtig ist für uns alle. In Zukunft haben wir ein sehr, sehr großes.
For the future, we have a very, very big project planned that's still incubating in my mind. I'd like to build pipelines and desalination plants in Africa. I will free up considerable resources so that this project can be implemented. Just imagine, people have nothing to eat. We can't imagine how much the people there are suffering. That's why it's important to me that people all over the world have at least the very basics. That's to say, food and water. What is a gold digger? No, seriously. What is a gold digger? Is it someone who believes that it's out there? Yes. Someone who wakes up every morning and believes and believes and believes that it's out there? And then there's nothing, right? There's just nothing. And then he finds himself standing at the edge of a desert and staring at a new sunrise. And he hears a gentle voice that tells him, go on, keep looking. And the sun keeps on rising and beats down on him from above. And it's searingly hot. He has no more water to drink. And everyone that came with him wanted to turn around. And at some point, they did exactly that. And so, he's standing there all alone. And all he has left is his belief that it's out there. And yes, it is out there. That's a gold digger.